And welcome to another edition of the New Sports Outlaws podcast. As always, I am Neil, and this is Dan. And Dan, as we watch the New York Yankees try for a sweep, we are going to touch on baseball today. We are going to touch on some of, I guess you could say, the continued draft rumors for the NFL. And we are going to preview the NBA playoffs. So how are you this week, Dan?
Good. Being NBA playoffs, exciting. One of my favorites going on. So, even though the Nets obviously aren't a part of it, I kind of look forward to watching a nice little quadruple headers on Saturday and Sunday. So, right into Easter weekend, so it'll be good to watch.
Before we get to baseball, because we're going to start with baseball, I just want to let you know that I have a note on the Nets. I said Nets misery. I'm sorry. Nets misery is over. Now we wait for the lottery. So that was my note on our Brooklyn Nets for this week's prep for the podcast.
Yeah, like 20 days or something to the lottery.
It's not far away. Okay, so talking about prep for the podcast that we're doing as we speak, the Yankees and Mets have had a couple games since we last met. Baseball is fully into their season. The Mets are right now 11-6. They've played some lackluster opponents. We'll leave them on the back burner for a second. Let's talk about our New York Yankees, who are also in first place at 10-7. I want to retract something I said here last week. I'm sorry, Carlos Rodon does suck. Sorry.
Yeah. No. So. The Yankees finish up their series this afternoon against the Twins. The Yankees are looking good and try to get a sweep in Kansas City, or in Yankee Stadium at Kansas City. So I guess we can start with the Metsies. The Metsies are not looking. They're looking fine. They're first place in the division. Still haven't. First time they've lost 2 games in a row this season. Actually, they just lost 2. They kind of lost this afternoon. But I think like the main one is really Juan Soto. It seems like he's really the one that's kind of struggling a little bit. Batting 115 in the last 7 games. Batting 240, I want to say, on the season so far. So especially he made some comments over the past couple of days that have kind of stirred up the pot, especially on the WFAN airwaves. But yeah, the Mets are still, they'll be okay. Alonso, thank God for Alonso, or else I think Soto would be a lot more exacerbated lately. But with Alonso carrying, Soto doesn't look too bad yet, and I wouldn't get too worried about Soto just yet.
Yep. It's funny how we can research the same topics and get different hits. I wrote down, ask Danny, do you think Soto's finally catching fire? He's got now 2 homers in his last 2 games. But all of your notes are contrary to that. But I will ask, do you think that he's now starting to catch his stride? He obviously is a player. Most players like the warm weather, but he's obviously a player who this cold weather is bothering him greatly. And they were comparing hooded Soto to hooded Mello. I think that as the weather breaks, you're going to see Juan Soto hit plenty.
Yeah, I was kind of relating. So even though I know as a Yankee fan, I would love to see Soto a little bit struggle. But I think I was looking at from Judge from last year, and Judge only batted 220 in April last year. Not saying he's anywhere near Judge, but I'm saying Judge batted 220 and ended up still having 58 home runs, 144 RBIs. He was so dominant. So I think with Soto, we can give him a little time and give him some grace before we kind of make our judgments. But still, though, it's kind of good as a Yankee fan. I'm sure you feel the same way to see Soto struggling a little bit coming out the gates.
Soto said those things. Listen, it's more banter for sports radio. We do this podcast and we talk New York sports radio, New York sports, and we talk New York sports radio. And it's more for the sports radio people because It's what's there that's groundbreaking. Aaron Judge is, if not the best player on the planet, the second or third best player. Whatever your argument is, he's a top three player in all of baseball. So for Juan Soto to say, yeah, it's different than having Judge as protection, because no matter how good Alonso is, and he's not the reason Soto's struggling, no one else in the league is Aaron Judge. So I feel like the uproar. Listen, he should have probably just said, "I had a great hitter then. I have a great hitter behind me now," and he should have just zipped his lip. But there's nothing he said that was incorrect or disrespectful to the Mets or Pete Alonso.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree with that. I think he was asked the question. He said it. He should have said it. Probably not. I mean, he's not. He's not. I know he was at the Yankees last year, but he's not really. This is kind of the first time we've really seen a high profile guy like the Juan Soto go from the Yankees to the Mets or vice versa. And pretty much anything he says that's related to the Yankees, whether it's good or whether it's bad, it's going to get blown up a little bit. Again, it doesn't help that Soto's not that great right now. He only has 2 home runs or three home runs, I guess now, because I think he had one opening day. But yeah, I think they'll be okay. But the rest of the Mets lineup is struggling though. They got their own problems struggling. Their lineup, besides Alonso, has been actually pretty terrible. So I think Soto's taken the spotlight off of the rest of the Mets hitters a little bit, because I think they have a lot of problems, and thank God their pitching and Alonso have been keeping them afloat.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're a Met fan, you'll take that, because last year they dug themselves a huge hole. I mean, they're literally sitting in first place right now. No one expected the Braves to get off to the start that they've gotten off to. So the Mets will count their blessings. Something that is par for the course is that Francisco Lindor is a Mark Teixeira level slow starter, and he's had some errors in the field too. So it has not looked good for Mr. Lindor and the rest of the Mets bats. So hopefully they wake up just in time to carry the pitching, because we know that pitching's not going to stay at that level, and that's not trolling. That's just what the back of the baseball cards say.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Eventually, the pitching, I mean, they might be okay. They're not going to be as good. They're definitely not going to be as good as they are right now. They kind of hope that the batting comes up when the pitching starts to regress to the mean.
Okay, so I already talked about how bad Rendon is, but to segue from somebody who's playing badly in the field and at the bat, and somebody who's playing good in the field and at the bat, um, are we surprised Dominguez, I think, looks this good so far in the outfield with all the red flag and warnings we got in spring training?
Yeah, it seemed like every thing that he did in spring training, you would pull up X and you see everybody and their mother post a replay or a clip of him dropping the ball or just letting the ball drop in front of him or whatever it is. And then you see games like, especially yesterday, where he made a pretty good few catches, running up, going both ways, that kind of thing. Um, so yeah, no, it looks pretty good. Obviously, it's still Boone's um, idea to kind of take him out for his offensive purposes for Grisham, really. And I mean, obviously, it looks really good right now because obviously Grisham's playing great defense, but he's obviously also swinging a really hot bat so far.
Yep.
So it's going to look really good as long as Grisham keeps hitting like he is. We'll give him a couple spot starts out there. But I mean, I think Dominguez, especially, I think after yesterday's hit, when it was from the right side, his weaker side, that he got that key 3-run double to kind of pretty much carry us to that win. That was definitely a bright spot because that's definitely his weaker side. So it was good to see that.
Yep.
Yeah, with the Yankees, I mean, a little bit more struggles. I mean, Judge he's going 494 OBP right now. Crazy. 1 out of every 2 times. Pretty much leading the league right now in pretty much every category. Most of them, except for like Alonso. They have a couple of them. But yeah, Yankees are struggling a little bit,
Yeah.
especially hitting wise. But yeah, you can go ahead. I don't know what other
No,
questions you had.
no, I just had a couple insights so far. I mean, early, very early, but Goldie looks like that was an absolute steal to get him on a 1-year deal. He plays very good defense. If he's going to hit the ball like this, the entire season. I feel like we've stolen him, and hopefully Devin getting his third save last night is him settling in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was first 1, 2, 3 inning last night, which was pretty good. I know there was a couple scares. Like I know there was one that went to the warning track. There was one that was a bullet right at him, but he's looked better and better. I guess you could say that over the past, especially the past few starts, which is good. And if we can have Weaver, who's thrown the ball amazing so far, Devin Williams throwing, and then maybe we need like whether it's Ian Hamilton or if Loizaga can ever stay healthy, like that guy before Weaver, our bullpen's going to be really, really good, and I think we expect that almost every year. It seems like with the Yankees.
Yep. And like it's almost the Yankees and Mets are polar opposites right now. Because I know you were just saying before the Yankees bats are struggling, but overall their numbers are there. Just like the Mets look like their pitching is not so great, but overall their numbers are there. So the Mets and Yankees are complete opposites of each other. The Yankees are first in home runs, second in runs scored, but then we like typical Yankees. We go to games where it's like, where's the offense? If it's not Judge carrying us, you get lucky and you get like a Dominguez day the other day. But and then the Mets are the opposite with pitching. You know what I mean? It's like these pitchers are stringing together these numbers. So it's like polar opposite in New York right now.
Yeah, and we just gotta hope. At least Schmidt had looked like he had a decent start today, just over 5 runs, 5 innings, 3 runs, which is good for a first start. Um, Hopefully, I know Heels rehab got pushed back a little bit because of an MRI result. I don't think it was anything bad that happened. I think it was just, I guess, something that showed the MRI, so they're pushing back his rehab about a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I heard
Um,
Susan. I heard Susan talking about it on the pregame today. They say basically they give a percentage on how much the MRI shows of how much is healed, and they say that they usually don't start the next step until you get to an 80% mark. And I think they said heal was like literally right under that mark, so they wanted to push it back a little further, give it some more time to heal.
yeah, no, probably. Yeah, it sounds about right. I mean, I don't know anything about it, but yeah, I mean, it was good to see Cookie Carrasco have a decent start, which kind of got us into Freed, who obviously had a good start again. Definitely looking like a early Cy Young award, kind of up there with Skubal as for Cy Young. But it's looked good so far. Hopefully the Yankees can complete a sweep because it would be a nice first place in our division, or at least tied. I think we're tied with Toronto. I want to say I think Toronto's right there, but even though the Yankees and the Mets, even though they've kind of been a little bit of the opposite this year, pretty much if the Yankees win tonight, I believe they have the same record, I think, if the Yankees win tonight. So they'll be even.
Yep. Yep. So at least, hopefully, cross our fingers, we have two teams that we're going to be able to talk about being in deep contention this year. And although I like to rib my Met fan friends, I'd love to see the Mets at least compete this year. I don't want to see them suck. I want to see them compete and then choke in the worst way. That's some honesty for you. Speaking of choking, I tell you right now, who will choke? No matter what way you slice it, I'm convinced that the Giants will choke away this pick and not make the right pick for the NFL draft. We are 8 days away from the first round of the NFL draft, and I think you're going to see some fireworks on Thursday night. Right now, the guy that's all over the place is the guy we've been talking about, Shador Sanders. There are mocks that have the Browns taking him at 2 or the Giants taking him at 3. And then I just saw a mock today where he doesn't go until like pick 15 or 16 to somebody trading up. I don't know what to make of it. You think we're gonna get some big things happen on the draft night, like trades?
You would think with someone like Shador Sanders that it would like we would know something by now, whether it's a top 2 or top 3, and now we're hearing that it may be 7 or 8, and then maybe get into the teens. I mean, I think if he gets past a certain point, we'll say the Jets at 7, then I think you may see a team try to kind of trade up and see if they can be able to get that. See if they really want a quarterback to trade up for Shador. But it's kind of weird considering how I mean he's supposed to be at least the second best quarterback in the draft, and he's for teams. There's a decent amount of teams that need a quarterback, and he seems to be slip sliding. I don't know if that's just because of the whole Dion thing, or I I don't know. Maybe I mean I know in Colorado, he definitely I think a thing where NFL teams don't like is he's holding the ball too long, especially on some sacks, which obviously is a big no-no when it comes to the NFL world. It's not like college where you can just scramble around and just chuck it. But yeah, it's really weird. I know the Giants just had it, or they're gonna have a private workout, right, with the Shador, and I guess a couple other quarterbacks. I think Jalen Milroe's in there too. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna find a team. I think he might fall a little bit, just to predict for some reason, and then we'll find some team maybe to trade up for him. But yeah, I don't know if he's gonna go 2 or 3. I don't think he's gonna do that.
Yeah, I really think if he slides, and this is why it probably won't happen. I think it makes too much sense for the Saints to draft him. Because then if he's probably the most out of all of them, although I don't like him, although I think he's severely overrated, and I'm not the only one. If you listen to these analysts, you have people who think he's the best quarterback in the draft, and then you have people that think he's not. If his name wasn't Sanders, he'd be a third or fourth round pick. So I'm obviously in between. I think he can be very solid, and he's pro ready right now. I think it makes too much sense for the Saints not to draft him at 9. Derek Carr could very well miss the season, and if Shador goes in there and leads them to a competitive year, maybe compete in that crappy division, then you can literally rid yourself of Carr somehow, and then you have your quarterback of the future there. I think that makes the most sense of anybody in the top 10, and they are a pretty decent team in a really crappy division. So,
Yeah, now that Carr is pretty much out, they're saying that he's in jeopardy for the year or next
yeah.
year, which is crazy. Yeah, I don't know why the Saints, whether they had mixed feelings or not, maybe not even take a chance unless you're looking at someone like the Jackson Darts or whatever they're looking at. We haven't heard much about that, but there's definitely a few teams that are in need of a quarterback. The Saints being one, obviously the Browns, the Jets, the Giants. Obviously, which we'll call it's going to select him at number Cam Warren at 1. But yeah, no, I think we're going to find a team that's going to trade up for him. I think he'll fall. Just saying for no reason. I think he's going to fall, but then we're going to find a team that's going to kind of trade up for maybe even Pittsburgh to trade up for him and go get him.
Yeah, I got no problem with it falling because I really want Jaden Milroe to fall to the Giants in round 2. So I have no problem with him falling, and that would slide all those quarterbacks back, I believe.
Are they
Sounds
saying Jalen Milroe is going to go 2 now? I heard he was. Is he going up to 2 now? Because I know at the very beginning it was like round 4. I
Oh
think.
yeah,
It was
there's some crazy a holes that think that Pittsburgh could take him at 21, and I'm like, oh come on, that's too early. Come on,
the
but
quarterback goes. Yeah.
I would not be opposed to the Giants taking a risk on him. I know there's a risk. I know he can maybe never develop into the passer, but if you're going to tell me Jaden Milroe has a ceiling of being Lamar Jackson light, if you can work on his throwing because his running is there and he's a big dude, I'm down to risk a second round pick for that. So,
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, he went through a pro style offense in Alabama there. Obviously, he was under Saban and the new guy DeBoer, I want to say his name is, the coach in Alabama, and had a really good success. I mean, they were a top 5 team this year. Not top 5, I forgot they had a new playoff. Top 12 team this year. I think they should have been in the playoff, the college football playoff this year, but yeah, I mean, he's been around for a while, and he's definitely an athlete enough. I just wonder if he's more of a quarterback enough.
oh, oh my God, Dan, did you see that? The alert. Did you see that? Aaron Rodgers has still not made a decision on his future.
Where is he been? It's unbelievable. I, where
I
is he
mean,
going? Pittsburgh? No one wants him. I don't even think.
if you're Pittsburgh, you literally have to just wait and see what he decides, right? Like, what else can you do?
Holding him hostage. It's like he's doing it on purpose.
Well, at this point, there's really nothing else left out there as far as even backup quarterbacks go. So I believe that a lot of the mocks have the Steelers at 21 taking Jackson Dart if he falls to them there. I think that'd be a good fit, but he is still a quarterback that might not be ready day one to start. So even if they get Jackson Dart, having somebody like Aaron Rodgers there, so Dart could sit, maybe even it's only 1 year behind Rodgers, might be the best recipe for them. But yeah, so.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's like he's holding Pittsburgh hostage almost. That I mean, unless Pittsburgh's, I guess what next week's the draft, right? So
Yep.
unless
Next.
you're just gonna say screw it and just say I would draft a quarterback and just kind of play him week one,
Yep.
but no matter what, Pittsburgh needs a quarterback with those two malcontent receivers you got out there.
Yep. We got round one on Thursday. Round two. It's 2 and 3 on Friday, I believe.
2, 3, and then 4 through
4 through 7.
75 or something on Saturday.
Yeah. So that will be next week. So maybe we'll get some info and we'll have another podcast before the draft next week. So maybe we'll get some info on the NFL draft as we get a little closer. But something that is already started, we had 2 playing games last night, is the NBA playoffs. Trae Young is a piece of extra, and I'm so sick of him to begin with, especially with his dealings with the Knicks. But he wandered off that court last night, and he acted like a kid that I wouldn't expect a kid in on my high school team to act the way he behaved. You're a grown man. Stop acting like a child.
Yeah, he pretty much got sour grapes and pretty much just cried because the Magic just absolutely destroyed pretty much Atlanta in all facets. And Trae Young just pretty much said, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to throw the ball at the ref. I'm going to not give it back. And like a little baby, he pretty much just cried his way off this. And hopefully they get in whatever they play tomorrow or whenever they play
Yep.
Thursday, whatever it is. But yeah, that was bad look for him.
I know they'll play the winner of the Miami and Chicago game. So you'll see that. In the West, we had a very good game. I was not awake. I teach and I work out in the morning, so I was sleeping. I did see highlights this morning when I was getting ready to work out, and Steph and Jimmy put on a show. So their prize is they're going to face the upstart Rockets. And they're going to be, we're going to talk about it in a minute with our predictions. But they're going to be a very popular upset pick, the Warriors over the Rockets.
They're favorite.
Um, yep.
For sure,
And
they're
then
favorite.
we got another playing game tonight for the West, and we will see who plays. Eventually, we will see who plays the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dan, uh, talking generally about the NBA. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Knicks in the postseason. They start on Saturday and Monday at home versus the Detroit Pistons. Let me tell you really quick in 30 seconds that I respect them before we get to our predictions for any of the rounds, any of the matchups, including the Knicks. I respect them, and I think they are a very good young team, and they scare the poop out of me. I would have rather played the Pacers or the Bucks over the Pistons. I think is the worst of the first round matchups the Knicks could have gotten. What is your opinion?
I think we agree on that. I think that's just because you've played the Pacers and you've played the Bucks in the playoffs, and you know what to expect from them. Detroit's a newcomer with a budding superstar with Cade Cunningham, but the thing, and I think this was a big thing with them, is even though Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway aren't the best of players, they're really good vets to kind of put around the Cade Cunningham, the Jalen Durans at center.
Yeah.
I think they were really good vets to have there, and I think obviously they kind of carried them a lot. And I think that game against the that game you had against Detroit, I guess last week or 2 weeks ago, where it showed that Detroit's definitely going to be physical with them. There was that whole play with Dennis Schroeder standing over Jalen Brunson and all that stuff. And I think, and especially with players like Isaiah Stewart, that dirty player, however it may be, I mean, he is a dirty player. And they're going to be physical. And I don't think physicality and the Knicks are best friends. I mean, at least this year's team doesn't seem like they're best friends. So I think this is going to be. I mean, we'll get to predictions in a second, but I think this is going 7 games. And I think Brunson is the only reason why I would pick the Knicks, or I'm going to pick the Knicks, because he's definitely the dog on your team, and I don't think he's going to let you lose that series. I don't believe in Cat really that much. I don't believe in Mikal Bridges. I don't. Maybe OG's the next guy I believe in, but I think Jalen Brunson will do just enough to get you through that series. But it's going to be a tough one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to agree with the games, but I 100% admit that they do scare me. But I do believe there'll be a game where Cat will go 6 for 10 from three and score 38 points. I don't know if you'll get every game performance like that from Cat, but I do believe that he'll have one of those games where he goes nuts. I think Brunson will give you what he gives you every single night. And then you'll get a night, like you said. I think there'll be a night where OG goes off. There may be a night when Josh Hart has a triple double, maybe doesn't go off scoring, but has a 15, 10, and 11 type night. That is the key contribution to a Knicks victory. So we're starting our predictions now. We'll start with the Knicks as we're talking about it. I'll take the Knicks in 5. I think every game is a dogfight. Knicks, a 5-game series doesn't mean I think the Knicks are dominant over them. I think that every game will be a dogfight, and I just think the Knicks find a way to pull it out in 5. If it doesn't go in 5, I can see it going 7, but I'm going to stick with 5.
Cool. Yeah, no, I tend to agree a little bit. I mean, maybe I guess with Brunson being there before and being that guy, we got to see maybe if they put OG or Mikel on Cade Cunningham. I think that's going to be a matchup to whoever's going to do that. But yeah, I think the Knicks will get through. You want to talk about the other matchups, or you want to skip predictions?
Yeah,
What do you want to do?
let's go to the next prediction. I think we have the Bull. Sorry, my bad. The Bucks versus the Pacers, which we talked about before. I thought this was the series. Obviously, we don't know what the last series will be until we have the finishing of the play-ins. But out of the 3 series that we can see in front of us for the East, I thought this is the series that had the best chance to go 7. I just think these teams are mediocre. I think that they both have stars. Obviously, the Bucks star is better than the Pacers star, but I think both of these teams are mediocre. I could see this going. I have Bucks in 6, but I could be convinced that it would go 7.
I actually have the other way. I think so. Obviously, the Giannis is the best player on the court, but I think the second, the third, the fourth, maybe best players on Indiana. Between all their role guys that they have with the obviously Halliburton's, the Miles Turner, who's still quality, Neesmiths, the Mathurin, Benedict Mathurin. I think that Milwaukee's so without Dame. I think they're just a team ready to just drop off the face and start selling, hit that sell button. I think they lose in. I would. I want to say 5 games. I was gonna say 5 or 6. I don't think it's really much. I think again Giannis will carry them, and I think he'll put up crazy triple double numbers, 30, 35 triple double numbers. But I think Indiana is a decent enough of a team to carry them, especially without Dame Lillard.
Where was Brooke Lopez in that 2, 3, 4?
Brooke Lopez. Brooke Lopez. Put him back on the Nets.
I tried to say that with a straight face. Okay, and the last series for now that we know about in the East for sure is going to be the Boston Celtics versus the Magic. And congratulations, Magic. You hung tough. You had injuries all year. Boston in 4.
Yeah, I see this similar to how you see, I think, the Detroit Knicks series, where the Magic they have a good team. They have a lot of good young players. Paolo Banchero's not there yet, um, be the superstar. Boston has too many superstars. Like you said, enough said. I'll do the nice gentleman sweep, though. I'll say Boston in 5.
Okay, let's go out west, my son, and let's go with I think the most intriguing series in the West is so far is the Nuggets versus the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. I thought
Dribble, dribble, dribble.
I didn't
Fine.
know, Danny. I didn't know that either one of them was still alive, let alone playing basketball. And they looked in the last couple of weeks have looked like their old selves. They beat the Warriors last week to avoid the play-in game and beat them in overtime. And Harden and Kawhi went nuts. I don't think they beat the Nuggets, but I think it's a very intriguing series. I have the Nuggets in 6.
Yeah. Yeah, no, James Harden has looked really good. And I've watched a few of the games, including the one you were talking about with the Warriors, and he was doing James Harden things that he normally does in the regular season still. Still doing those step back, flop threes. He's still making them in, still can get to the basket a little bit. Kawhi's actually looked really good. Kawhi, I mean, I saw a few games. He's looked really good. But I think Jokic and Jamal Murray's a playoff performer. I think there'll be a little too much. Like you said, I'll agree with you. Nuggets in 6.
Yep. Okay. The next series I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna save the other one for last. I'm gonna go to the Rockets and Warriors, and I'll drink the Kool-Aid. I kind of preempted it. I'm gonna pick the Warriors in 7. I think the Rockets are a very good team. I think they give the Warriors everything they can handle, but I think Steph Curry just carries them in the end, and I think they win.
I don't think the Rockets are that good at all. Again, I'm not watching the Rockets every day and obviously out there. But what we're going to remember, or at least what I'm going to remember as a Brooklyn Nets fan, is the Brooklyn Nets sweeping the Houston Rockets this year in both games. If you're getting swept by the Brooklyn Nets in I think it was a matter of 5 days. They played 2 games in 5 days. And it's when the Nets actually cared and they actually won a couple games. No, what are we looking at? Sengun's going to carry the way. I don't want to hear about this. I think the Warriors are going to run through them. Jimmy Butler, the Warriors are definitely better than a 7 seed, especially with Jimmy Butler on the team. They're at least a top 4 or 5 team. I'm picking the Warriors. I, I want to say 5. I'll say 6 just so they close out at home. But I'll say the Warriors in 6. I think the Rockets are nothing. Done. They'll be.
I could see it. I could see it in 6. Um, I'm more bullish on this next series going 7 games. I think the Lakers versus the Timberwolves. Every bit of me wanted to believe that I thought that Minnesota could win. I don't think they can. I do think that there'll be games where Ant-Man will just shine and outscore the Lakers almost by himself. But I'll take the Lakers in 7.
Yeah, I think the NBA is waiting for Anthony Edwards to kind of have his moment or have his series that to kind of take over as maybe that. I mean, I guess along with Jason Tatum, take over as that young American face to kind of take over the NBA. I think they were winning last year, and I think he struggled last year. I think he was injured a little bit in the playoffs, from what I remember. I'm kind of in agreement with you though, and as much as I want to see Luca and LeBron just fall over, they've they're in a side of the bracket which really favors them, especially because if they end up coming out of this side, they end up going against the Rockets and the Warriors. Um, I'm going to pick the Lakers. I don't think Minnesota has enough, even though I don't want the Lakers to win it all. I'm picking Lakers. I'll go 7 with you. I think the Lakers in 7. It'll be a tough series, but I just don't see any way in which Minnesota can pull it out.
I mean, and from the point you just talked about, the NBA could still get very much what they want, which is Edwards to take the next step up. They could lose in 7 to LeBron, and if he's going back and forth making shots against Luca, and then Luca making shots, and then LeBron making a shot, and then Edwards coming down and making a shot, they could still get that desired effect, even with a T-Wolves loss, if on the grand stage he steps up to LeBron and Luca and can carry his team to at least a 7th game against the mighty GOAT.
Yeah, I don't want to see them go anywhere. I want to see Luca and LeBron go fishing together. I don't want to see them go anywhere.
So all the other sports are kaput. Hockey is done for the locals except for the Devils. So I will not be mentioning hockey after I just uttered that sentence. And something else to talk about in our podcast for New York sports. I'm convinced Salicata never played an organized sport past freshman level. I think I know more in my pinky than he knows his whole body. He's a moron. And Sean Marash, the next time he can see his toes, he can give me an opinion on any sport that matters.
What did Morash say now?
I
What
don't
did he do
know.
now?
I
You
don't,
just don't know. You just
no, no. I know what it was that got me irate, but like he said something stupid every day. That Jameis Winston take. That's now. Go
I
eat
don't
a
because
cheeseburger, you fat bastard. Come on.
yeah, Sal. I know we were talking about Sal a couple days ago when it came to that whole thing with the Masters and that whole thing with Rory and how he was just not impressed with that at
Oh,
all.
he
But
wasn't dominant. He wasn't dominant. Shut up.
it's the Masters. You're all by yourself out there. I couldn't even imagine doing all that stuff.
Sal couldn't dominate a fantasy football league, let alone anything that mattered. Stop it.
So yeah, by next week, we'll definitely have a few Nick games in. Right, you said it's Saturday, Monday.
Yep.
I'm assuming Thursday. We'll say something like that.
Yeah, Wednesday or
Um,
Thursday.
yeah, so we'll definitely have a couple Nick games in. We'll know the other series for basketball, so we'll definitely be able to definitely get some Nick reactions in as they'll be on the road in Detroit. We'll have another Yankees Mets, another week of them. The NFL draft will be next Thursday, so at least by now, I hope by then, I keep waiting for more news on the draft. We really haven't heard, especially locally with the top, what do we have, the top 3 and 7? What are the top 10 picks? Normally you hear more, but we haven't heard much. Hopefully you'll hear by next week. There's no hockey playoffs? I was going to ask you, is there hockey playoffs? When does
Yeah,
hockey start?
the Devils are in it, so I'm done talking.
Do they start is it next week? Is it this week? When do they start?
I'm pretty sure it's next week.
Is it the regular season over? Is the season over?
Yeah, I believe the season just ended. If it didn't end, the Rangers were eliminated like 3 or 4 days ago. So I stopped paying attention.
So, the season was over when they got. All right, so yeah, right now, actually, before we sign off, we have the Yankees and the Royals are tied at 3, going to the bottom of the 7th inning. Yeah, next week again will be heavy NFL draft, more NBA playoffs, heavy NFL draft, Yankees Mets. So actually, a lot of sports will have a lot for next week. So yeah, as always, keep subscribing on X, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Keep those followers and likes, comments coming. So until next time, I'm Danny. This is Neil. Signing off.